I never thought my life would take such a drastic turn. I was the guy who had it all, or so I thought. A stable job, a loving wife, a comfortable home, and what I believed to be a promising future. My name is Ryan Mitchell, and this is the story of how my life was turned upside down by betrayal, but ultimately, how I turned the tables and emerged victorious. Emma and I met in college. She was smart, beautiful, and had a charm that could light up any room. We got married a few years after graduating, eager to start our lives together. I landed a great job in finance, and she pursued her passion for interior design. Our life was picture perfect, at least on the surface. But behind the smiles and affectionate gestures, things weren't as they seemed. Looking back, the signs were always there. I was just too blind to see them. Emma started staying out late, always had vague explanations, and became more distant over time. She claimed it was work stress, but something felt off. Our conversations became hollow, our intimacy dwindled, and the warmth between us faded. Then came the day that shattered everything. I had just gotten home early from work, excited to surprise Emma with dinner. As I stepped inside, I heard muffled voices coming from upstairs. My heart pounded as I crept toward our bedroom, a sickening dread settling in my stomach. I pushed the door open, and there she was, with another man. My best friend, Daniel. Time seemed to slow as they scrambled to cover themselves. The shock and disbelief in Emma's eyes mirrored my own. Daniel stammered, trying to explain the inexplicable. My fists clenched, but instead of rage, a chilling calmness washed over me. I simply walked out. That night, Emma begged for forgiveness, claiming it was a mistake. Daniel, on the other hand, vanished from my life. But the damage was done. I couldn't unsee what I had witnessed, and trust was shattered beyond repair. Divorce was inevitable. I wanted a clean break, but Emma had other plans. She weaponized the legal system against me, demanding half of everything and more. She painted herself as the victim, twisting reality to her advantage. My bank accounts were drained, my house was sold, and I was left with nothing but debt and despair. Friends turned their backs, siding with Emma's fabricated narrative. My career suffered because the stress impacted my performance. I found myself alone, broken, and at rock bottom. But rock bottom was where my real story began. Losing everything felt like being trapped in a never-ending nightmare. The walls were closing in, and I had no escape. I was forced to move into a tiny, run-down apartment in the worst part of town. The once proud man who had built a comfortable life now had nothing but a mattress on the floor and a pile of overdue bills. The silence was deafening, the loneliness unbearable. I spent my days applying for new jobs, but the damage Emma had inflicted on my reputation lingered like a stain I couldn't wash off. People whispered behind my back, and potential employers hesitated to take a chance on a man who had been publicly dragged through the mud. At night, I lay awake, replaying every moment, every mistake, wondering how I had let my life spiral into this chaos. Then one evening, as I scrolled mindlessly through social media, I saw them. Emma and Daniel, laughing together at some high-end restaurant. She looked radiant, as if our marriage and the destruction she caused had never happened. Daniel, the man I once trusted, was now parading around with my ex-wife, enjoying the fruits of my labor. Something inside me snapped. The sorrow that had consumed me for months morphed into something else, determination. I refused to let them win. I refused to be the man they had tried to destroy. It was time to rebuild, and I would make sure my comeback was greater than my downfall. I started small. I took on freelance work, using the financial skills I had honed over the years to help struggling businesses. The pay wasn't great at first, but slowly, I built a reputation. My client list grew, and so did my confidence. I changed my approach, focusing on personal branding and networking. Months passed, and I secured a stable position at a promising startup. The pay was modest, but the opportunity for growth was immense. I poured everything into my work, determined to climb higher than ever before. Late nights, early mornings, failure wasn't an option. I was fueled by the betrayal, using it as motivation to push myself beyond limits I had never imagined. As I started to regain my financial footing, I focused on my physical and mental health. I joined a gym, throwing myself into intense workouts that became my therapy. I read books on resilience, business, and self-improvement. I refused to let bitterness consume me. Instead, I channeled my energy into growth. And then, fate intervened. One day, I received an email from a high-profile investor interested in my financial consulting services. He had heard about my work through a former client and wanted to discuss a potential partnership. That meeting changed everything. I found myself stepping into a world of high-level finance and investment opportunities that I had only dreamed of. With time, I founded my own consulting firm. The same industry that had once turned its back on me was now welcoming me back with open arms. My business flourished, and for the first time in years, I felt truly in control of my life. Emma and Daniel? They were still flaunting their relationship, but I no longer cared. I had bigger plans, greater ambitions. My success was the best revenge, and I wasn't even close to being finished. As my business continued to thrive, I found myself in circles I had never imagined. I was networking with influential people, making deals that put me back on the financial map. Every milestone I reached was another slap in the face to those who had betrayed me. Then came an unexpected twist. Emma and Daniel's life wasn't as perfect as they had made it seem. Rumors began to spread. Daniel had lost his job due to poor financial decisions, and Emma's lavish lifestyle was crumbling. The woman who once took everything from me was now drowning in debt. One evening, as I was attending a prestigious business event, I saw her. Emma stood at the entrance, hesitant, almost nervous. She had aged in ways that weren't just physical. The arrogance, the confidence, it was gone. When she spotted me, her expression changed. There was no hate, no smugness, just regret. She approached me, her voice almost trembling. "Ryan, can we talk?" I smiled, calm and composed. "About what, Emma?" Her eyes darted around, as if searching for the right words. "I made a mistake. I miss you." I let out a soft chuckle. "You don't miss me, Emma. You miss what I gave you." For the first time in years, I felt truly free. No anger, no bitterness, just satisfaction. I had won. Life had come full circle. I was no longer the man Emma had broken. I had rebuilt myself from the ground up, stronger, wiser, and more successful than ever before. The best revenge wasn't destroying her, it was thriving despite her. I walked away that night, never looking back. My story wasn't about betrayal anymore. It was about resilience, growth, and winning in life. And that's exactly what I had done.